The most mysterious places on Earth. Magnetic Hill in Moncton, New Brunswick. When vehicles are on Magnetic Hill, they roll uphill even when they're turned off. When pieces of metal are put on the ground, they roll uphill on their own. It's because of the magnetic force that surrounds the area. Researchers have been trying to figure out what causes this since the 1930s, and they still haven't come up with any answers. Since the phenomenon was discovered, the area has become a huge tourist attraction. People are amazed by the magnetic power in the area as well as the mystery surrounding the cause. There is a similar phenomenon in the Magnetic Hill of Ladakh, India. These are the only two places on Earth where something like this can happen, and scientists just don't know why. The Morokai Boulders in New Zealand. These two large boulders are scattered on Koikoi Beach on New Zealand's South Island. These stones were formed millions of years ago on the sea floor. Where the giant rocks came from and why there are cracks in them is something that is being studied by scientists. So far, they've not come up with any answers to their questions. Some people believe that they're just old rocks that have worn down century after century. There are others who believe that there is a supernatural reason behind the boulders. Until researchers are able to find some answers, we may never know where these huge boulders came from and what has caused their current condition. Longyearbyen, Norway. Svalbard's located north of Greenland in the Arctic Sea. It is also an archipelago. This place is very amazing, and it's a lot different than any other place on Earth. Between April 20th and August 23rd every year, the sun never sets. It remains light out constantly. Astronomers have been trying to figure out why this occurs. If they have come up with any answers, they haven't been talking about it. The people who spent most of their lives living in this town say that the constant light is just something you get used to after growing up in the area. When tourists visit the area, they say that after a few days that the constant light is just too much for them. It's the only place in the world where the sun doesn't set for specific periods of time each year. Racetrack Playa in Death Valley, California. Death Valley is one of the hottest places in the world. It's also home to a very interesting phenomenon. An ordinary stone is often seen sailing over the surface of the area. There is no known force behind the stone. Therefore, it's not known why it happens. Researchers have been trying to figure out why the stone moves on its own since 1915. So far, they have come up with nothing. While the cause is still unknown, the rock doesn't stop traveling on its own. There are many scientists who say they will not give up until they find the reason the rock moves by itself. Others believe it's one of life's mysteries that we'll just never find the answer to. Eternal Flame Falls in Orchard Park, New York. There is a beautiful waterfall in New York that has a flickering golden flame hiding behind it. This is strange, considering water is usually the best way to put a fire out. Scientists have studied the area and they discovered that there is a macro seep of natural gas under the ground below the flame. There are times when the water will put the flame out, but the gas will automatically reignite it again. This waterfall is a huge tourist attraction in New York. Millions of people visit the flame each year to take photos and to watch the flame go out and light again. It is an unusual and amazing phenomenon. Relampago del Catatumbo in Aloga, Venezuela. An occasional lightning storm is not all that unusual. What is unusual is when there is a daily lightning storm in just one area. This is what happens in the southwestern corner of Lake Maracaibo in Venezuela. This area has more lightning activity than any other place in the world. As of now, the National Weather Service has no explanation for why there are so many lightning storms in the area. There are researchers who are still trying to figure it out. Blood Falls in Antarctica. There is a glacier in Antarctica called the Taylor Glacier. On this glacier, a blood-red waterfall flows constantly. There's been plenty of research done in the area to figure out what causes the blood-red waterfall. Unfortunately, there is no true answer. Some researchers believe the lake is rich in iron, which causes the waterfall to flow red. There are others who believe that the iron and sulfur reactions beneath the ice are what cause it. There's still no true cause for the phenomenon, and it might be a while before we have a real answer. This is an amazing sight, though. If you can stand the cold weather in Antarctica, it's a place that you need to visit. You'll never see anything like it anywhere else in the world. The Eye of Africa in Mauritania. The Eye of Africa is made up of a huge structure that resembles the eye of a storm. It's located in Mauritania, which is a large country in East Africa. Researchers have no idea where the structure came from or what forced it to rise out from the ground. This is no typical rock formation or mountain region. It looks strange, and the reason that it developed is likely strange as well. Until scientists can come up with a reason why the rock was formed, we won't get any answers that we're looking for. The Skeleton Lake of Rupkund in Uttarakhand, India. When the snow melts in this area each year, scattered skulls are found here. The first person to discover these skeletons was a British forest guard, and he found them in 1942. After the first discovery of the bones, people believed every skeleton had been discovered. When the snow melted every year since, more and more skeletons are discovered. It just makes everything confusing. There are some people who believe that the skeletons belong to Japanese soldiers who died during World War II. There's no evidence that this is where the skeletons came from, though, and researchers are still trying to find an answer. Shiprock in New Mexico. Shiprock is a Monadnock rising that's located on a desert plain on the Navajo Nation in San Juan County, New Mexico. This is not something that you see in any other desert in the world. Scientists have studied Shiprock and the strange behavior of the ground. So far, they have not yet discovered the reason the Earth created Shiprock. Surtsey Volcanic Island in Iceland. Before 1963, a photo taken at this location would have just shown water. Underneath the water was a volcano that you couldn't see above the water. The volcano was located in the Westman Islands, and it erupted in 1963. When the activity died down in 1967, this island developed in the clear water. It's been there ever since. The island itself has been studied by scientists and geologists. They want to find out if the island was part of the volcano that rose from the ocean or if it formed in some other way. So far, there has been no concrete evidence to explain the formation of the strange tiny island. Pamukkale in Turkey. In Turkish, Pamukkale means cotton castle. That's why this place in Turkey was given the name in the first place. You can see in the photo that there are plenty of terraces that naturally build out from the ground. Each terrace is full of water that is frozen over. There are many researchers and geologists that believe that the terraces in Pamukkale are made of travertine, which is a sedimentary rock deposited by the water from hot springs. They can't be sure that their belief is true because they have found no evidence to prove or disprove their theories. This is a popular tourist destination not only because the area is so beautiful, but also because of the mystery surrounding the Pamukkale. Old Faithful in Yellowstone National Park. Old Faithful is one of the most mysterious places on Earth, and it's located in Yellowstone National Park. Yellowstone is huge, and it covers 3,472 square miles. The park is in 3 different states, including Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho. It has 5 entrances and 5 developed visitor areas. One of the largest attractions is Old Faithful. Millions of people from all over the world visit Old Faithful every year because it is absolutely amazing. It is the highest concentrated geyser in the world. When Old Faithful erupts, it shoots between 3,700 to 8,400 gallons of boiling water into the air. The water sprays up between 106 and 185 feet, and the water continues to spray for 1 to 5 minutes. The eruption occurs between 21 and 23 times each day, and it usually happens every hour. There are plenty of things about Old Faithful that have scientists and other researchers stumped. First, they don't know what causes the geyser to shoot so much boiling water from the ground. Second, they aren't sure why it happens every hour like clockwork.